In this video, I'm going to show you how to make bread with yeast. And this is yeast here. It's just a fresh yeast. Be a few extra ingredients just to make the crumb nice and soft. We've got eggs. Our main hydration will be the water. We have milk. We have salt. And we have sugar. So the sugar helps the yeast, but you can also remove the sugar. You don't really need it. I use it because, like I said, it moves the fermentation a bit faster, and the crumb will get a darker color to it. And I'm going to be mixing this in my spiral mixer, but you can also mix it in a stand mixer. And I'll be baking it off in my stone oven, which is here. So let's get it going. So in this recipe, I'm going to use 4 kilos of flour. Now you can use any flour you want when it comes to bread using yeast. You've got a lot of flexibility. I had a little bit of my organic flour, my bread flour, left over, and that was 12.5 grams of protein per bag. And I had some of this supermarket flour that I use sometimes for rolls, and that's 11% protein. So I've got half and half mixed up in there. So we're going to add all the ingredients except for the salt. So the salt I'm going to put to the side. So we're going to add all the water, which is 2 liters. Tip that in the mixer. 400 grams of milk. We've got 3 eggs, which is about 160 grams. Throw that in. The sugar. And we have the fresh yeast. Now, if you're going to use dry yeast, you need about 30 grams. But this is 80 grams of the fresh yeast. And I'll just break that into there a bit. We will add the salt just after we mix it in a bit. It just gives a little bit of a head start. Got the 4 kilos of flour. Throw that in there. I'm not sure if I sound different, but I've got a new microphone now. So hopefully this improves the sound quality of the videos. So I'm just editing the video, but you'll notice that throughout the video, the sound changes on the microphone. That is because these are new. I was testing the settings while recording. I know I should have tested them before. Don't recommend testing these microphones while doing a video, but yeah, so the sound's not the best at the start, but it will get better towards the end. We're gonna mix this for 2 minutes on slow speed. So if you have this mixer or any of the Famag mixers with 10 speeds, it's speed 2. And just 2 minutes. I'm gonna let that mix in on slow for 2 minutes. So you might want to add a little bit more of the water if you find it a little bit dry, because I did add the organic flour, which might make it a little bit more drier, but just a little bit. You'll have to modify it to your flour. So after about 2 or 3 minutes, it will be nice and combined. And we're going to add the 80 grams of salt. I'm going to put this on speed 5 on my mixer. I'm going to mix it for about 7 minutes. And I just added a little bit more water. So this is where my microphone decided to go high pitch on me. And I think the mixer noise did something with the compressor built into the microphone. So I'll just talk over now. So this is about 2 minutes in, and it's coming together very nicely. If you notice yours is dry, just add a little bit of water. Now, this is about 5 minutes in, and it's pulling from the sides nicely. Remember, this isn't sourdough, so the dough can handle a firmer mix without damaging the structure. We're not going to do any stretcher folds, so we just want to finish all the mixing in the mixer and cutting the dough to size. Then I will be placing it in my prover, which is an old oven with a heating mat. I have a video about this on my channel, but it's not needed. It only speeds up the process. I have my temperature on 28 degrees Celsius, which is 82.4 degrees Fahrenheit. That's it. That is finished. That was around about 7.5 minutes. So I did end up adding about 40 mils of water extra when I was mixing, because I was using the high protein flour as well. But you should be fine with the recipe. But if you do find you need to add water, well, don't be scared to add some. So now we're just going to look at this dough. And it's nice and stretchy. We can get a window pane here. Like so. Don't put your fingers through it because it will break. But that's nice. What I'm going to do is pull out the mixer straight onto the bench. so. And you'll know it's mixed when you can get it all out in the mixer without it sticking. Pretty much. So you have to remember, this isn't sourdough. It's not high hydration mix. We're not going to be using a basket to hold the strength. It will be free form. So that's it. You notice, look how clean the mixer is. I like to get a little bit and just go around, clean the bowl. So much easier than sourdough to clean, I must admit. I will be doing a sourdough mix soon, so that will be ready for my sourdough. So I've got about 11 550 gram loaves here. I'm going to put the 3 in a tin. This is like a half sandwich tin. And I'll be putting 4 on the trays. And it will bake literally in the oven on the tray. We won't be using the bannetons like we do with the sourdough, and we won't be putting it in the fridge. We'll be baking it on the same day. So we're going to get 3 550 pieces here. The beauty is you don't have to be gentle at all. Commercial yeast, you've got a lot of flexibility. I will let this sit on the bench for 20 minutes before we actually shape it and put it onto a tray. So this is 550 a loaf, and you just put it into a ball like that. It's not sticky whatsoever. Even though I do prefer sourdough, working with yeasted bread is a lot easier. You can make a lot more mistakes. It's more versatile. You don't have the flavor that you have from sourdough. You don't have that long fermentation process. I will be shaping this into a better shape soon. But the beauty about this mix is that first you just get it cut. You can go a little bit over 550. I should have probably used my bigger scale, but it's got an issue at the moment. I'm continuously having to put it on charge. I think I need to replace it. I did drop it, and it hasn't been the same since. It was like on the floor, it fell off the bench. So I got 12 here. 4, 8, 12. So if you want to, you could just go over. You don't want to waste any of the dough. Just cut a bit off the end and just add it to each one. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to leave this on the bench just to soften up and relax a bit before we shape. So I'll put them closer together. I'll cover them up, but you don't really need to. I'm going to leave this for about 20 to 30 minutes just on the bench. Temperature is not that important with the yeasted bread as it is with the sourdough, but I still like to monitor the temperature. The room temperature is 17 degrees. And I will be putting the Viennas that I'm going to be making, the bread, on trays in here. And I've got this set to 28 degrees. Just so it moves faster, because it will be going straight from the prover straight into the oven. This is actually a good time to get the oven going too. So I'm going to set the oven to 220. Because it should only take a few hours for this bread to be in the oven, and this oven takes a few hours to warm up. But because it's a cold day, I've got some hot water in this saucepan, heating up this chamber, and I've got a heating mat in there too. So when that's on the trays, I'll put it in there, let it get to size, and then boom, straight in the oven. So it's a bit about, see it's moved a bit. It's nice and elasticy. So what we're going to do is going to shape this for some trays and the tin. So I'm going to use these 2 trays. I've got Teflon sheets. Now you can use your silicone paper if you want to. But these are my trays that came with the oven. So I'll put the Teflon sheets that I use for my sourdough. But we won't be baking these directly on the stone. But we can still use the sheets. So what we're going to do, we're going to shape it. Unlike sourdough where we've got to be gentle, we want to knock out all the air into a square, like so. And I will now, very gently, like so, shape that into a, I'll do the tins first. I'll do that again. Now if you find it too long, you can fold it over itself and then putting the thumbs in, put it in the tin. So, scraper, flatten it out. And then push it in. You can get a nice shape. And that is the sandwich loaf. Now for these, they're going to be like a Vienna. A Vienna is like a sourdough batard, but we don't put it in the Valentine. I'm going to shape this into a nice shape. So, and put it on the tray. Because it's a low hydration bread compared to sourdough, it's going to hold its shape. So you get the length that you want to get, and then you just fold it on top of each other. So you just fold it on top of itself, and then if you have to, just stretch it out more. And that's on the tray too. Usually I'll put it at an angle like this. So I still do the triangle method that I do with my sourdough, but I'm not being gentle here. I'm shaping as tight as I can. I'm going to put them like this. So they don't touch each other when they prove up, but it's still got space to cool like that. So that's 4. And what I'll do is I'll put it on the top shelf here in this warm prover that will warm it up a bit. If you don't have prover, just cover it with a cloth and leave it at room temperature. It will grow. This is just going to speed up the process. So with the cob, you want to flatten it down like so. This is a bit of a Vienna, and I'll finish off. I'll put the Vienna there and there. Cob, gonna have to play around with this. Put them on the end. Like so. Okay, so now I'm going to put this also in here. It's on the bottom shelf. Like that. So for a bit of humidity so we don't get skin, I'm going to put some warm water in a cup here. So I have some warm water that will increase the humidity in here and it will make it so it doesn't go dry. And we'll close that up. It should warm up a little bit. And this might take an hour or 2 hours. The tins, we want them to about a little bit above the tin. So I'm just going to cover those with a tea towel. Because the beauty about being in a tin is that we can cover it without touching the dough. So about an hour into the bake, the internal temperature is at 24.4. You can tell there's a lot of humidity in here because the glass is all steamed up. I don't want to open it and let all that out. So I'll just quickly have a look in here. I did put the tin in the prover in the end because it's so cold today. So that's in there. And just quickly, little close little look. Yeah, they've still got a while to go. So I'm going to give that another half an hour to an hour. So I'm going to pull these out. They're ready to go. They've been in the prover for about 2 hours. Pull that one out too. And the sandwich one. Now what I'm going to do, you don't have to egg wash, but I like to egg wash. I'm going to egg wash just half of them. And we'll do half without. It will show you how they look without it. So, and I'll just do one of these. and just the one cob. Okay. Now with a serrated knife, you just want to cut into the top. So just do, you can do any pattern you want. You can even do a pattern like this. Like this, you can do one like this. And you can even do like that. These you can leave, these ones here, you can leave alone, or you can also put a cut. All right. So 220, I'll put these in. So, and I will add steam. And we'll bake that for half an hour. So they're getting a bit dark. So I dropped it down to 200 after about 10 minutes. And depending on how they look, I'm either going to leave it at 200 or put it back up to 220. It all depends on how crusty you want it. So we've got steam escaping the oven, which is a good sign. Means we've got steam. Without steam, this won't jump as high and they won't get that nice shiny crust that we want. So having that steam is really going to help the bread. And I should add, unlike the sourdough, we're not going to release the steam. We're going to leave the steam in there for the whole bake. Final 10 minutes of the bake, they've been in there for like 20 minutes. And we will leave this on 200 degrees. I don't want to get too dark on top. Okay, so we're at the end. We're getting nice. I don't want to go much darker than this. It's been half an hour. So the first 10 minutes was at 220 and the final 20 was at 200. I'm going to take these out. So these are the ones with the egg wash. These are the ones without the egg wash. So definitely a difference. That's why I like to use the egg wash. This one might need more time. Have a look. No, they're good. They're good too, so very nice. We'll let these cool down. So they've cooled down and you can tell already that the egg wash made them really shiny and the ones without egg wash aren't as shiny. And these are the half sandwich, and even with the egg wash, it's nice and shiny. And I really like the shape of them. If you wanted to go a little bit higher on the height, you'd obviously remove the eggs and the milk. And I do have a recipe without the eggs and milk, but I thought I would show you my favorite one first. I also have a recipe with, so I'll mix a little bit of yeast with my starter, and I'll do that video as well. It's just a tiny amount of yeast. And yeah, look at that, it's very soft. It bounces back. It's great for sandwiches. It's really nice. It's not eggy. And the milk really helps with the softness. So yeah, great. And that's it. Thank you for watching.